The following program is a Creative Magic Network production. Alrighty, hello everybody. Welcome. Come on in. Put your earbuds on. That's right. This is the Frederick Bai Show, and this podcast, this radio show is about unleashing your creativity. Talk to experts who step into the unknown. It is an inspirational, magical, intuitive radio show podcast as we chat with charismatic enigmas. That's right. Entrepreneurs and artists from around the globe, musicians, singers, radio hosts, business people, photographers, everything in between. The power of power, too sweet to be sour, funky like a monkey. Hey, in this place, sky is the limit and space is the place. I am Frederick Bai, and I am a French Canucker. Yes, your favorite French Canucker. I am a mother Canucker. Can you believe this? I'm a mother. It exists in the world. I'm your host. I'm a businessman. I'm an artist. I'm a writer. I'm a friend. I'm a partner. I'm an animal lover. I'm everything you want me to be, basically. And I'm joined with my wonderful co-host. Yes, she's here today. Finally, Vanessa. How are you?
Oh my goodness, I'm great. You know, I really like the way you do the. How do you do it? You do it again. I don't know.
Yeah, unleash your creativity.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Vanessa all the way from Africa.
Yeah,
and I'm finally back on the network.
Yeah.
I've been away for a while.
Yeah, I know. She is the queen of yellow. And yellow, you missed an interview last time. It was about the aura, and yellow represented, I have it on the tip of my tongue. I just forgot what it represented, but it represented something very spiritually high. You know, you have something to say, something to prove. You're out there. It's fire. You know what I mean? And but you've been gone. You've been actually. You left me on the wayside there. You just walked away. What's up? What you been up to?
No, it wasn't intentional. It wasn't intentional. You know that we're creatives, and sometimes we just I don't know, we just disappear in our world. You know, I mean, I didn't leave you intentionally, but you know, anyway, I'm back and I'm great to be here. And today we have a very wonderful woman. I'm so excited. I can't wait to meet her. So.
Yeah, so today, for all you artists out there, and all you entrepreneurs out there, and all you 9-to-5 people out there, okay, y'all have a job, y'all have you kind of want to do what you want to do, but you kind of don't want to go, and the number one reason why you don't want to do it is really money. Okay, let's face it, people, let's face it, folks, money. Yeah. It's always 90% of the time, ask 90% of the people the reason why they're not where they want to be in their lives. They're going to say because of money. And today we have a money expert, and I love how she talks to millennials, and I love her approach. And she has a book that can help a lot of people, and we're going to talk about it on this show. Her name is Latasha Kinnard. She's the Chief Freedom Builder at Start Young Financial Group, and a #1 Amazon bestselling author of 20-something and rich. Yes. Ain't that cool to be 20-something and to be rich? Ooh. And her new book, Make It Rain, 12 steps to build a better budget and achieve financial freedom. You can find her at startyoungfinancial.com. How are you today, Latasha?
I am excellent and so excited to be here with you energetic people today.
Yay!
Thank you.
Same
now,
here.
do I call you Tasha or do I call you Latasha?
You can call me Tasha.
Tasha. Okay, good.
Yeah, I guess she likes Tasha. I kind of like it too.
Yeah. Where'd that name come from? What country is that? I mean, are you just, I know you're a black African American, but do you come from another country?
I don't. So I think it's just a Black American name.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool.
Okay.
All right. So, Tasha, right before we dive into your book, give us an idea here of your background for a little bit, you know, for all these listeners out there, all these people out there.
Yes. So my name is Tasha, and as Frederick mentioned, I am the CEO and chief coach at Start Young Financial, and I was born and raised in Chicago, Illinois, in the heart of the city, in the heart of the ghetto, guys, for real. And
hey, you didn't go to did you ever go to one of Oprah's show?
No.
Oh, why? Man, I live in Chicago. I'd be there every week.
I know. You know, as a Chicagoan, it's just like not really a thing that we do.
Okay.
But I grew up always just really interested in money and learning about money. And I knew that if I really wanted to be able to elevate my life circumstances and, you know, not continue the same cycles of poverty that were around me, I probably should learn a thing or two about money. So at 10 years old, I dedicated to myself, to my education, and to learning about money. And I literally would stack pennies in my mother's penny jar, really looking at the art and science of how little things grew into big things. And it was just so freaking exciting to me. So I go on and graduate from high school. I go to one of the top universities in the country, and I end up graduating from there, working for a Fortune 50 company. Guess what? Managing multi-million-dollar budgets for some of the biggest brands in the world. I'm talking Sony, Energizer, Procter & Gamble, you know, the people who make Beats by Dre. And I tell people I literally went from planning pennies to managing millions of dollars. And eventually I realized that, you know, working for a big corporation, I was just making $1 billion company millions every day. And it didn't resonate with me. And I really wanted to be able to impact communities who were struggling day to day, wanting to do the things that they love, but didn't have the financial resources to do it. So I threw up the deuces. I said goodbye to my job. I quit. And for 4 years, I have been helping young adults take control of their finances, take control of their life so that they can save more, invest more, pay down more debt, and really get access to doing the things that they love. So that's a little bit about me, my background, and what I do.
You know, you wrote a book.
Passionate.
Yeah. You know, you wrote a book that I think that's very, very important for people to read, because what I love about your book is that it's not just technical, right? Okay, credit. You talk about credit card, debit card, different types of accounts and everything, but you also talk about it, which is my favorite subject, is the mindset, the psychology. Yeah. And I love it because I don't know, that's the core, in my view. Now, you're the expert, Tasha, but in my view, it's the core. It's the way it starts, you know. And I think you just said it, where when you wanted to get out of the kind of poverty cycle, right?
Right.
Let me ask you this: what kind of books influenced you as you were coming up? You know, because you said you started at 10, but what kind of books 10. Influenced you?
You know what? It's really interesting because books influenced me tremendously, right? Because I'm this little girl. I'm growing up in a very insular environment where I did not get to see a lot of stuff. I didn't get to see people living lavishly, or not even lavishly, but living in an environment where their needs were met. I didn't get to see that. But what gave me access to that was books. And it was not books about finance. Okay. I was not 10 years old reading books about finance.
Was it 50 Shades of Grey kind of books?
No, it was really books that sparked my imagination. Yeah. It could literally be anything that allowed me to see beyond my neighborhood. And I loved my neighborhood. It was amazingly fun, but I got to see that there was more. And when my curiosity got sparked, I'm like, I want to be able to see these new places, these other places that exist. I want to be able to go there, and you don't get to go for free. And so that's kind of what inspired me, having a curiosity to see what else the world had to offer. And that's what I got from books that just sparked my imagination.
Okay. Let me ask you this.
Okay.
Go ahead, Vanessa.
Yeah. I watched one of your videos, and I want to quote something that you said. You said, "I know what it's like to not know where your next meal is coming from, and to and to have to watch your parents struggle financially and to wonder if their current reality is eventually going to be your financial future. So, did you have experience with, poverty, struggling financially growing up? Is that what caused or led to you having that, that love for money?
Wow, Vanessa, you really took it there. You really took it there. And absolutely, that's true. There were times where I didn't know where my next meal was going to come from. And it causes a fear of the future. That's why I called it a cycle. That's why I said, I didn't want to be in that cycle. And it was the motivation, but in a sense of not saying that I don't want to be this, but saying that I really want to have the power to create my circumstances. I don't want to have to be, feeling like I'm trapped by my circumstances. I want to feel powerful and that I get to create the financial future that I want, and I don't have to be stuck in cyclical patterns of behavior. So kind of going back to the mindset thing, for me, it was always wanting to feel like a powerful creator instead of somebody who had to be subject to my circumstances. And watching people around me struggle with not being able to elevate their mindset and being able to see firsthand how that caused, generational issues, being able to see that firsthand, it led me to say, not only do I want to change for myself, but I want to be able to change entire families, entire communities. I want to be able to impact entire generations like millennials, to be able to take control of their finances and really feel powerful about what they can create for themselves, and have it not be about a job, have it not be about where they came from or what they look like or how much money they have, but really is just about who you are and what you're willing to do.
Mm-hmm. In the United States right now, it's kind of a chaotic place to be right now, politically, economically. Where were you in 2008, in 2007, 2008, when the whole thing happened? The crash. Were you in the corporate world?
I was just going into the corporate world. I was finishing up college, mm-hmm. and I was going into my first job. Right. So I graduated in 2010. So it's we were kind of right in the throes of one of the worst economic recessions in history. Yeah. And so salaries were stagnant. There was not a lot of opportunity in the marketplace. But luckily, I was recruited and I didn't have to worry about whether or not I was going to have a job. And I want to do a small caveat because, when I say I wanted to grow up and I wanted to be wealthy, for me, wealth, being able to be wealthy looked like a very specific pattern of behavior. It meant that I was going to get straight A's in high school. It meant that I was going to be the top of my class in college. It meant that I was going to go work for an amazing corporation, right? So there was this very cookie cutter model that I thought I had to follow. And because of that, because I followed this model, there was a very nice job waiting for me at the end of the rainbow. But at the end of the day, it didn't make me happy. And the reason that I wanted to point to that is because in the beginning, you mentioned that, you're talking to creatives, people who aren't necessarily following the beaten path. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to us a little bit about the fear, what you saw in 2008. I don't know if you witnessed it since you were still, in college, or, maybe when you're younger, you're kind of not as aware, but did you see something? Did you see, I don't know, the struggle, back at the...
This is what I really need you to get, okay? I need you to get this. For me, 2008 is nothing. When you literally grow up with nothing. Yeah. Watching a stock market, watching something that other people consider a recession is nothing to you. So, one of the reasons that I'm able to be a fearless entrepreneur is because this is nothing compared to, what I had to endure growing up. And it gave me really thick skin. So being able to watch people go through a recession was something that I was really equipped to cope with. I was extremely equipped to cope with it. And it's part of the reason that I'm so good at what I do is because I have a wide breadth of experiences. I know what it's like to have nothing, but I also know what it's like to work for a Fortune 50 company managing millions of dollars. And I know what it's like to live downtown in the high-rise apartment and have everything that you need. And then I know what it's like to give that all up and be an entrepreneur. Yeah. So in 2008, when the stock market was like crashing, I was watching from college. And then when I had to go into the workforce, for me, even though salaries were stagnant, by the time I was getting a $60,000 salary, I was making 3 times as much as anybody else in my household, right? So it was like, yeah, it's a recession, but I'm on the come up, right? I'm still learning. How do you build wealth from scratch? How do you do that in any market and in any environment? So when I was 10, creating my first emergency fund, I was really prepping myself to be able to build financial freedom from scratch, regardless of what's happening around me. And that's the skills that I use in my business day to day. So I don't care about what happened in 2008 was devastating. To people who already had stuff, right? But my clients didn't have anything. What I deal with right now is the ramifications of the recession. And for millennials, they didn't deal with the recession in 2008. They're dealing with it right now, today.
Yeah. All right, once again, we're here with Latasha Kinnard. She's the Chief Freedom Builder at Start Young Financial Group and the #1 Amazon bestselling author of 20-something and Rich. And we're talking about her new book, Make It Rain, 12 Steps to Build a Better Budget and Achieve Financial Freedom. You can find her at startyoungfinancial.com. And right before continuing this conversation, guys, do you have a passion? Something that fuels your curiosity? Well, on top of getting fascinating interviews such as this one straight to your inbox when you subscribe to our free Creative Magic community, you will get super cool exclusive gifts in return, such as the ebook Happiness Quotes by the ambassador of happiness herself, Maura Sweeney, one of our hosts, and also an exclusive conversation with 2 of my favorite people, Alex Okoroji and the blind blogger, Max Ivy, another one of our hosts, as we talk about the influence of friends and college education on our lives, the competitiveness in a crowded field, and the importance of business and financial education in arts and entrepreneurship, and more. And also, Alex has a special gift for you inside. I promise you will get inspired and entertained. Subscribe for free at frederickbuy.com. Frederick with a C, buy like bye-bye.com. All right, let's move on, Latasha. Now let's dive into the book. Like I said earlier, I think my favorite part of the book, obviously, is the psychological part. And you started by saying that the truth is money management is not a skill that we are born with, but it's something that is acquired. We have the perception that some people just have it. They just have it. So you're telling us that's not true?
That's not true. That's not true.
Some people have the magic touch, don't they? They just have the and then they know. Just kidding, right?
Yeah, like me. I got the magic touch. But no, it's like these are skills that you can develop, and anybody can develop them. It's just a matter of, do you have the time, the skills, and the resources to develop that type of knowledge? Just like anything else, when you want to learn something, you got to put in the time and the commitment to learn it. And if you don't have the space for that, it makes sense that skill set is going to suffer. And I tell people, what you focus on will thrive, and what you ignore will shrivel up and die. And a lot of times I think that we ignore our finances and we wonder why our finances don't flourish in the way that we want them to. So I am a strong believer that anybody can figure out how to gain the skill set needed to develop financial freedom.
Mm-hmm. In your book, you talk about, you're big on your thoughts and metacognition. What is that? Talk to us a little bit about it.
Yeah, I love metacognition, and you can think of it like thinking about your thinking. Because sometimes we just get so into the present and the right now that we don't take this time to evaluate where we are. And the voices that we have in our head sometimes, they can run us. So like you might want to do something and you hear that little voice that says, you can't do that. You don't want to do that. You shouldn't do that. Right. And you just accept that that little voice in your head is you, but that little voice in your head is not you. And the way that you can put that voice in check, the way that you can really take control of your life is when you start to think about the thoughts that you're thinking about. And that's when you really get to take control of your life. And that's when you can take control of your finances.
Right. Do you do something like meditate? Like, what do you do to control your thoughts or to become more aware of them? Or, what do you do?
Yeah. All right. We're going to do it right now. I want you to think about what you're thinking about right now. What are you thinking about? You're probably thinking about, who is this girl? What is she talking about? Does she really know what she's saying? Should I listen to her? Right? I'm talking to you. We're having a conversation and your thoughts are thinking, is she credible? Why should I value her experiences? Or you have the conversation going on in your mind right now. Get present to that conversation and get in control of that conversation. Sometimes it's just a matter of like tuning into what's happening between your ears. Just tune into it. Pay attention to it. Now, when you meditate, for me, meditation is different because I'm trying to quiet my thoughts. But when you get metacognitive, you're focusing on your thoughts. You're bringing some focus and awareness to the thoughts that you're thinking. So sometimes I might realize that, or have you ever been reading a book and then you look up and you realize you have no clue what you were just reading because your eyes are looking at the page, but there is something else completely going on in your brain. And when you finish reading the page, you don't even remember or recognize or realize what that conversation was. If you can just tune into that, get quiet and say, what am I thinking about right now? Right now, I'm thinking about how do I get my point across? That's what I'm thinking about. Just tune into it. And the more you just tune into what you're thinking about, you'll be able to become a master of it and you'll be able to take control of it. And it's so important because sometimes I have a voice that says, oh, girl, you need that dress. And then I have to be like, wait a minute, that's not me. That's not me. That's my automatic programming talking.
We're going to talk about that automatic programming because I think that's important. All right. Instant gratification. Why is it bad? Or what do you have to say about that? Because you talk about it in your book.
I'm so glad that you mentioned instant gratification because it's really, at Start Young Financial, we have some philosophies that we work by, and instant gratification is one of them. I usually think that in the finance industry, we ignore psychological principles. But the fact of the matter is you can budget until you're blue in the face and your budget is never, ever going to work because you have a psychological wiring that is literally built to short circuit your long-term goals. This is why budgets don't work, diets don't work, New Year's resolutions don't work. And it is because your instant gratification is hardwired into you. So when I see that dress that I want and I say, oh, girl, you need that dress. The reason that I'm feeling that is not based on a decision that I've made, but it's based on the fact that when I saw it and I wanted it, my brain literally released endorphins into my body so that I can fulfill my desire for instant gratification. And it starts off like as a survival mechanism, but humans are humans and we do human things, and sometimes it don't always work out how it was supposed to. But instant gratification is always going to short circuit the desires for your long-term goals. And so this is why I think having a budget is absolutely critical. But just understand that if you only have a budget, you're not going to stick to it consistently. What you really want to do is create your financial plan, move yourself out of the way, and then put systems and structures in place to fulfill on your financial plan. Come on, we busy, we're entrepreneurs, we're creatives. We don't want to be focusing on numbers all day long. And so that's how you get around that. And that's why it's important to acknowledge instant gratification, because if you think that your willpower is strong enough to remove that instant gratification every time, you're crazy.
Yeah. I was,
but
go ahead, Vanessa. Go ahead.
Okay. You said something about budgeting. Okay. It's the real deal. And a lot of people have problems creating a budget and sticking to it. It's not just to create it, but to stick to it and, follow through. How can, how can we go about it? Because sometimes I'll take myself as an example. Sometimes I make a budget. Okay, I'm going to stick to this. And then other times, like you said, instant gratification. I make, probably at the end of the month, I save part of my, the money I was supposed to spend. And then instantly, you just want to go out and get something and, feel good. How can we work around this? Sticking to a budget.
Vanessa, you are so amazing. And I'm really glad that you asked that question, because what I want you guys to get is that you are programmed so automatically to think that a budget works that it's going to be hard for you to hear me when I tell you that you are not going to stick to your budget ever, period. You're not going to do it.
It's like sticking to a diet. Who sticks to a diet?
Right. Right.
No one.
Please raise your hand if anybody in your life has ever told you, I'm sorry, but I can't. That's not in my budget. Like, it just hardly ever happens in life. People just aren't sticking to budgets, but still, we have this fairy tale belief that somehow one day we're going to magically stick to the budget. And it doesn't work like that. And it is okay. It's okay that it doesn't work like that. So I want you to listen, focus on your thoughts right now. What are you thinking? You're probably thinking, how Tasha gonna say nobody gonna stick to a budget? She don't know me. You don't know my life. I have willpower. I have discipline. Listen to whatever it is that you're thinking about what I'm saying right now, because it's really important. It's really important because I'm telling you the truth. Listen, I studied psychology, I studied neuroscience, and I studied linguistics. So, and that's me putting my credentials on the table to say, just consider what I have to say. Because I know that traditional, conventional financial coaching is going to tell you how important your budget is. And what I want to suggest is that your budget is super important in letting you know what you want to do with your money. Your budget tells you what you want to do with your money, but you have to have a system in place to actually execute it consistently. Human beings are not predictable. One day you're going to wake up and you just not going to want to stick to your budget. It's how we are. You're going to wake up hungry one day. Yeah. You're not going to want to cook, and you're going to go eat out even though it's not in your budget. You're going to wake up one day and you're going to have a date and you're going to want that nice dress, even though it's not in your budget. So as human beings, we are unpredictable and we're just unreliable. And because of that, and you're amazing. Human beings are amazing and it's all good. But because of that, we want to have systems in place that execute our budgets, that help us be accountable, that help us have willpower, because day to day, we're going to struggle in that area, and we have the proof to prove it. Look at your diets. Look at your budgets. Look at your New Year's resolutions. That is the proof. So thank you for asking that question.
You're welcome.
You mentioned in your book that you say, I have found that the vast majority of the time young adults are fighting through the very same patterns of behavior that the parents went through, and they don't even realize it. Talk to us about that. I think that's an important statement.
Oh, you guys are really intense in that I do a lot of interviews, but very few of them are really like digging into the meat of what I teach. And that is like being able to understand your financial genealogy tells you so much about the patterns of behavior that you're struggling with today. So one thing
I had to do an unlearning from my on my part and my family, my entourage and stuff, but that's why I think it stuck to that statement stuck to me. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. And you see see it. The thing is that you can acknowledge it and see that it's there. And I tell my clients, we have to deprogram. We have to do some unlearning. Yeah. And the way that you recognize it is you think, what are the financial cycles that you find yourself in every single month? Are you finding that you're running out of money every month? Are you finding that you're struggling to pay your rent every single month, or you pay your rent late every single month? Or do you find that you're able to save large sums of money, but then all out of the blue, somehow you just blow it all? Like, no matter what that financial cycle is for you, acknowledge it. Just pay attention to it, because what I realize is that people are struggling in a financial cycle, but they don't see it as a cycle. They see it as isolated events. But when you acknowledge it as a cycle, then you get to look and see, where did this come from? You might say, my parents used to argue about money all the time, and it made me feel really insecure about money. Or you might say, some people have parents who don't like money. You know, they might undermine rich people. Like, I had a client where her parents would always devalue people who had a lot of money. So anytime she got to a certain amount of money, she would spend it all. But she didn't realize it was because she didn't want her parents she didn't want to take on those negative associations that her parents had with money. So when you look at that stuff, then you get to say, aha, you get to have a real financial discovery and turn that into a transformation and say, you know, money doesn't make people bad. Money does not rule me. I rule money. You get to change how you think about money so that as you move forward, your behaviors can change. And now you don't have to be afraid of building wealth, or you don't have to be afraid of looking at your bills every month, or whatever that is for you. You get to create an empowering context around it.
Right. All right, once again, we're here with Tasha, Latasha Kinnard. She's the Chief Freedom Builder at Start Young Financial Group and the #1 Amazon bestselling author of 20 Something and Rich. And in her new book, Make It Rain. Yes, it has a crown, golden crown on the cover. It's wonderful. 12 steps to build a better budget and achieve financial freedom. You can find her at startyoungfinancial.com. And right before continuing this wonderful conversation, guys, if you're an Amazon shopper, when you use our Amazon links at frederickbuy.com, Amazon kicks back a few dollars, a few bucks to the show, and it helps cover production costs at no additional cost to you. No hidden fees, no BS, no nothing. So if you like what you hear, you can help by going over to frederickbuy.com. Click on the blog page, click the Amazon link in the sidebar for all your online shopping. We have Amazon for France, UK, Canada, and the good old US of A. Yes, bookmark it to find it easier. All right, Latasha, you talk about financial freedom and you say that it's a state of being. And I wrote amen right after that statement. But just, you know, because most people have just thought that, oh, if I have $1 million, my goal is I'm going to be a millionaire. Or if I have $1 million, I'll be fine. You know, things will flow, or, you know, I'll be free. Or really, you get $1 million. Guess what? You're going to have to pay 45% of taxes. Number one, so that's $550,000. And you know what I mean? Like, people don't realize, they don't even know what $1 million represents. But anyway, go ahead, Latasha. Talk to us about that.
That is so excellent and so great. Like, such a great point. When I say that financial freedom is a state of being, people think that they're working toward financial freedom, but that's backwards. You don't work towards financial freedom. You first have to be financial freedom, and then you get the things that you want. So, and what I mean by that is when you have the state of mind that causes you to be financially free, you see yourself as the source of creation instead of looking at a destination and saying, once I get there, I will be, I will do, I will have. It doesn't work like that. Once you get $1 million, nothing about you is going to categorically shift. Nothing. Once you get from point A, let's say point A is $0 and point B is $1 million. If you were to get to point B, nothing categorically changes about you. But you want to know where it changes? It changes while you're at point A. It's the change and the transformation at point A that even allows you to get to point B. So if you are waiting around thinking that one day you're eventually going to, you're going to make $1 million and then you're going to have financial freedom, it doesn't work like that. It's really when you get in a state of financial freedom and understand that it's you. It's always been you. It's always going to be you. You have the key to unlock the financial freedom, but the way that you unlock it is not looking toward the future. It's not looking toward a certain amount of money. It's really looking inwards and saying, I am the source of the abundance, right? The $1 million, it's in you. The question is, how do you unlock it? It's right where you are. It's not over there across the street. It's not 5-10 years into the future. And if you're waiting, and this is why most people never make it, this is why 76% of people in America are living paycheck to paycheck, because they're waiting for something. They're waiting for something to change. They're waiting for something to be different. They're waiting for a circumstance to shift. And circumstances don't shift. You shift. That's what happens. And that's what I mean by saying financial freedom is a state of being. Once you become the type of person that can generate $1 million, that's when you're financially free, not when you actually create the $1 million. And I hope that makes sense.
Yeah.
It does.
I'm going to paraphrase here because at one place, I don't have the statement in front of me right now, but you made me think. In your book, you write there's different types of beliefs, and one of them is abundant. And one of the quotes is, "I can create the future I want because I can create new value. I can create value for the world." Am I right? Am I?
All right, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you mean, right? Those beliefs, those things, you either are abundant or you're not. It has nothing to do with your bank account. Does that make sense?
Exactly. Right. And what I really want people to get is like, you get to become that, it's not like, man, I don't think I have any value to give to the world. I guess I'm never going to be a millionaire. What I really want to get across is like, you don't wait to become a millionaire. You really start to look for the value that you have to create. That's what abundance is. It's like you have an abundance of gifts, talents, resources, so many things, intelligence. Those are the things that are going to give you access. That's what creates value. And it's the value that is going to drive your financial freedom.
Yeah. Maybe a year ago, I was meeting this lady and she was telling me, she was trying to sell me something. And after that we talked and she was saying like, well, I'm going to accumulate all this money and then I'm going to open an orphanage, or like, not an orphanage, but, non-profit organization. I'm going to give back to them. I remember thinking, if you really, really wanted to do it, if you really, really had your heart in that, you would start now. You would start by.
I totally agree. I totally agree with you because I've also had because I have a foundation, and I've had people send messages. I love what you're doing. Can you give me advice? I want to start a non-governmental organization. I want to help people, but I don't have money. I don't have the resources. And some of the times I'm like, look, you don't need to have all the money in the world to start. No. You have a little. Start with what you have. Start doing something, and it grows. You get people that key into what you're doing, and that's the idea. A lot of people just want to wait for something to change, like Tasha has said. A lot of people want to wait for that huge shift before they start to do something. I totally agree. I agree.
And that's so perfect. It's when it's the action that you take now. It's the small action that creates the shift and opens the door for new action and new wealth and new abundance and financial freedom. It's really the action that you take right now that opens the door for all the other things that you want to be possible. But if you're waiting, it's never going to happen.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Are millennials screwed?
Yes.
No, I'm telling you, Tasha, I'm telling you, the reason why I'm asking you this is because this is my perception. Baby boomers had the best time in their life, in history. Man, the economy, and I'm not an economist, right? But I read a lot about, all that stuff. The economy boomed in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and, after World War II. And they're the rich guys today. And it just seems to me that the entire system now they had the good times, but the millennials now are so, they're in debt. They don't have a freaking clue.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah,
there's something, and I have to say, I am a millennial. Like, I am at the tail end of the millennials, but I'm still a millennial. And it's like, I'm watching my peers, and I'm like, wow. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm watching what's going on in the economy. It's just crazy. We have so much information, but very little wisdom. And I don't know, just, and you mentioned in your book that the millennials are the first generation who have less money than their parents.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm the honest to goodness truth to answer your question, Frederick, is yes, millennials are screwed. I'm not really one to mince words. And this is why I think that the work is so incredibly important, because it doesn't have to be this way. What I really want to look at first, though, is that everybody is screwed, not just millennials. Remember, I said 76% of people are living paycheck to paycheck. More than 50% of working adults, people who go to work every single day, Monday through Friday, would not be able to cover a $500 emergency, okay?
Yeah, I read that. Actually, it's 67%. I think I read it. 67% of people could not even come up with $400. That's what I read.
It's pretty, it's pretty dramatic. Okay. Yeah. So we're all screwed. And then I want you to compound that with the fact that millennials they have more student loan debt than any other generation. Right? We came of working age in one of the worst economic recessions in history, which means that we started out with a lower income than where we should have been starting. And that's going to impact us for the rest of our lives. We have a lower earning potential because of that. Not only that, there's this myth that millennials are job hopping place to place. Well, there's just more of us. But if you look at it percentage-wise, millennials are actually staying in low-paying jobs, their first jobs out of college, too long, even when new opportunities become available. So, yes, we're screwed. We're pretty screwed. And this is why I think having the conversation, because nobody is talking about money like this. Nobody is really, it's like we're talking about it sometimes, but not in a real in your face way. This might be something that you want to get a handle of today, because the longer you wait, the more it's going to cost you. Just the student loan piece by itself should let us know that we have to do something different.
It was a scam, the whole student loans thing.
It's a scam.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Anyway. Tasha, I was a financial advisor for 2.5 years. Okay. I was, and I think that's when really I quote unquote lost faith in the system kind of thing. Because a lot of people I was surrounded with, they were good people, to be honest. They're good people, but it's just the system makes it so that, we were unqualified people. I realized there are so many unqualified people talk about money. You know what I mean? It's just, we're sales, we were trained like you train people to sell cell phones.
Right. You're in sales when you do that. Yeah.
You're in sales. You're a commissioned salesperson. And that's when my real education, I started to really read a lot of books and pay for, online class. I really wanted to get educated. I needed to get educated. And I knew, anyway, so that's just my little piece of story here. But,
and that's all to add. That's a really great piece to add.
What is a financial acculturation?
Financial acculturation is a fancy term that I came up with to say, how, John Locke says you enter the world a tabula rasa, a blank slate. And financial acculturation is how you get your financial programming. Your parents teach you something about money. They argue about money, or maybe they don't talk about money at all, or maybe they give you everything that you want, or maybe you live in an environment that's really impoverished, or maybe you live in an environment that's extremely lavish. Maybe you live in an environment where you don't really have a lot, but your friends, they have a whole lot. No matter what it is and how you grow up, there is a process of financial programming. And I call that acculturation, because acculturation is basically how you take on the culture of what's around you. So whether that's friends, family, your environment, the media, when you're 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you're learning something about money before you actually have the power to say, yep, I agree with that. Nope, I don't agree with that. So it's kind of like all of these financial beliefs you begin to take on, and they kind of become yours. And I like to say you have on a pair of sunglasses that color how you see the world because of your process of acculturation. These sunglasses have been given to you by others, and you don't even know that you have them on. That's how I think.
Right.
Okay. What about take a situation where, someone has a regular job, like 8 to 5, and definitely you wouldn't be making enough. And then, they want financial freedom. What do you advise? Because I personally, let me put myself in that situation. At a point, I had to quit my job. Not because it wasn't a good job, but because, the creativity in me wanted something different. Now, there are a lot of people out there that are battling between leaving their job and, becoming an entrepreneur and doing something for themselves. What advice would you give to that kind of person? Because I read in your blog, you talked about, leaving the regular job and starting out. What kind of advice would you give to that kind of person?
It's so funny. I went out on a date the other day, and I was talking to the guy. He was telling me about his job, and he ended up telling me how much he was making every 2 weeks. And I was like, you should quit your job tomorrow. You should just quit your job tomorrow. And he was really not making enough to live on. He was giving 40 hours of his time every single week, making $500 every 2 weeks. So that's like $200.
Which guy goes on a date and says how much he's making? What?
The kind who's on a date with a financial coach who doesn't know how to take her financial coach hat off.
Okay. See,
I know. It was horrible, but he initiated the conversation, and I just took it there. So, but I told him that he should just go and quit his job and put in a 2-minute notice, because he's much more valuable than $250 every week. And to answer your question, I think if you really want to be in a state of financial freedom, if you want to be financial freedom and take it on, you can't be afraid to struggle, because there is never going to be a situation where you're going to be able to achieve financial freedom without the struggle. It doesn't happen. If you look at every millionaire who wasn't born with the silver spoon, one thing that you're going to hear is what they had to go through to get to where they are today. And so a chapter of my book actually talks about what do you do when you don't have enough money to cover your goals, to cover all of your bills, because that is real life for some people. But what you have to get is that financial freedom is not about the money. Financial freedom is really about the focus. It's about the courage. Do you have the courage to really sit down and look at your finances when you know you don't have enough? A lot of people don't. It's fear there. It's shame and it's guilt there. But you got to have the courage to look anyway. And I guarantee you that even just by focusing on it, something is going to open up there. You're going to create new opportunities for income, because you're going to be sick and tired of looking at not having enough every single week. But when you ignore it, you don't create any possibility there. You just ignore it. And the only thing that you create is guilt and shame, and that's not going to produce anything. So when you don't have enough, that's the time to really buckle down and to really look at your finances. And when you begin to plan and make actual decisions about what to do with your money in the middle of not having enough, that action is going to open up something for you. I guarantee it.
Amen. Okay, we're going to have to wrap this up. we're going to have to wrap this up. I'm sorry, Vanessa, you cut off. You broke.
No, it's okay. It's good.
Okay. Yeah, so we're going to have to wrap this up. I just want to touch on one little thing that you mentioned in your book, financial alignment with your values. I like that. Let's finish up with that.
Oh, that's excellent. You guys brought up all the great stuff. And financial alignment is a way to make your financial goals they just happen effortlessly as a product of who you are. So financial alignment is the concept of when everything is in its proper place, something clicks and magic starts to happen. So think about it like you have financial values that you probably have never even thought about. This goes back to metacognition, thinking about what is really important to you. For me, what's important to me is travel, family, and security. So I use those values to help me determine what I should do with my money. I buy plane tickets home. I put money in my emergency fund, and I set aside money to travel with friends because that's what's important to me. So I use my values, and that shows up as a line item on my budget. Guys, values are not just for show. They're not just there to look at and be pretty. You have to put them into action. So when you have your values and you put them as line items on your budget and you actually have systems in place that are transferring money that you make into the things that are important to you, that's when alignment happens. And that's when you start to really feel fulfilled in your finances. And I'm going to leave you with this. Just because you have enough money, just because you're a millionaire, that's not going to make you feel financially fulfilled. Think about how many celebrities are in destructive patterns of behavior. They're depressed. They're not happy with their lives. They don't feel a sense of connection or intimacy to people. And you have to wonder why that is. And it's because even though they have all of this money, they don't have a sense of alignment because they are not clear about what their values are. And therefore, it doesn't matter what the money does. The money is not in control. You are in control. And it's really when you take control of your finances and you tell your money what to do that you'll really start to feel that sense of financial alignments and fulfillments in your life.
Wow. Fascinating subject.
Wow.
It's one of my favorite subjects. I love to talk spirituality and I love to talk money, the real deal. Anyway, thank you very much, Tasha. So once again, her name is Latasha Kinnard. She's the Chief Freedom Builder at Start Young Financial Group and the #1 best-selling author of 20-something and Rich. And her new book, Make It Ring, 12 steps to build a better budget and achieve financial freedom, is out now. You can find her at startyoungfinancial.com. And, like I said in the beginning, I think, we touched a lot on the psychological part today, but, you have also in your book a technical part where it's more about, you talk about credit cards, you talk about accounts, having the right accounts. You have, it's two parts, and I think it's congratulations on your book. Really, I think it can help a lot of people. So,
yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for having me. I had an absolute blast, really digging into the meat and the content of the book with you guys. You're phenomenal.
Thank you, Tasha. Have a great day, and you know what? When you go on a date, don't push the guy to tell him how much he's making. Hey, did the date go well, by the way?
I'll take that feedback, and it was okay. It was okay.
Okay, so that means no.
I'll take that feedback on.
All right, Tasha. Have a great day.
Okay, you too. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, Vanessa. So, what did you learn? What did you learn?
That was great. That was great. I learned a lot, and the fact, something really important that I picked up was, having to align your finances with your values.
Yeah.
I took it for granted, okay, money comes in, use it for anything. Fine. I know that there's certain things that I really, really want, and I should be focusing my finances on this. But, this has helped me understand that, look, there needs to be an alignment between the both of them, and it's really great. It's really great. What about you?
I learned so much, but I think it just confirmed what I kind of already knew and felt. And I think one thing that really came through to me was the importance of psychology behind it, and what, the influence of parents and what we say to our children as parents when it comes to money. I think it's so important. Like the way I see it right now, I have a newborn. I owe it to him to be financially educated. Because money touches on everything in our lives. If you don't have money,
and you need to give him financial education from when he's young. So he's growing and he knows, the right part, the right things to do, the right way to think is really, really important as well.
Yeah, I know. And to be the example, like, let's take an example, your daughter, right? She sees you do things. She sees you do these podcasts, she's experienced. I think you're going to be, if you're not already are, her inspiration, her main inspiration in her life, but I'm pretty sure you are to a degree. But you are the example, and same thing with me and my son. I want to be the example for him. And
that's true.
So it's so important.
A lot of people, a lot of parents need to look at, empowering their kids. Just, being that example, because like we talked about millennials, they're in a lot of trouble because the way it was 5-10 years back is not the same as today, and it won't be the same in the next 5 years. So we really need to, I don't know the word to use, like, the need for financial education is important. It's really, really important.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, Vanessa. So, where can we find you this week? What you're going to be up to? Putting you on the spot.
You're putting me on the spot as always. Well, I'm going to be doing what I do, which is create. I'm working on different new sites for different clients, and the thing about what I do is I don't just create websites like, other people do. I want to do something fun. And then, when they see it and their friends see it and everyone's like, wow, I like this. I want this, so this week I'm going to be in my zone, which is creating.
Okay.
And also looking forward to meeting, other creatives on the Frederick Bai show.
Hopefully,
that's a cool thing for me too.
Yeah. All right. Hey, by the way, what did you think about my cover art? Was it horrible? So,
are we still live right now?
Yes, we are.
I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that now. But I think we need to do a little touch up, and we will. Last week I was really, really, really busy. But this week we're going to touch up a few things and change a few things. That's how we're creative.
Okay. All right, guys. By the way, when you pick up Latasha's book from our website, Make It Ring. Frederick at our website, at frederickbai.com, Frederick with a C, buy like bye.com. Amazon kicks back a few bucks to the show and it helps cover production costs at no additional cost to you, no hidden fees, no nothing. So if you like this show, you can help by going over to frederickbai.com, click on Latasha's page in the blog and click the link to her book. It is really that simple. And also would like to thank those who pledged to our Patreon page. You are really helpful to the show and we are grateful for your help. In case you're wondering, Patreon is a simple way for you to contribute to the network every single month and get super cool exclusive rewards. In return, I promise you will love the perks. Our Patreon page is at frederickbai.com. Click Be a Patreon in the header and the money is used for our editing time and production costs. You can contribute for as low as $1. $1. No excuses, people. The Creative Magic Store is also open, well, and running. It's pretty cool. Max Ivy is able to sold a few books from the Creative Magic Store so far. It's pretty cool. Anyway, so it's open, mugs, t-shirts, bags, recommended reading. You have books. You have a bunch of things. So, that's pretty cool. And by the way, guys, this podcast is FREE free every time you download it on iTunes or Stitcher. Please go over there, subscribe. It is listener supported. Tell a friend. Leave a 5-star review. 5-star. We need 5, not 4-star. We need 5-star review. It really helps brother out. Last comments, Vanessa. Want to say bye to people?
I learned that today.
Yeah.
Don't mind me. It was really fun, and I hope to, reach out to every other person soon.
All right, cool. And don't forget, live with purpose, passion, and love. Bye-bye.